Oh dear, it's not going to let me write nicely. That's a shame. Oh dear. Oh, my writing isn't that bad. The area, and we're going to write down that is the space inside the shape. My writing is much better than this. It's because the Wi-Fi is so rubbish and palace. It's the space inside the shape. Okay, so you've just got to find a way to work out the space inside the shape. How do we do that with a rectangle, everyone? And you all say in unison, it's the base times the height. All right, so simply with this one here, you would do 5 times 12 equals 60. And what would the units be? Centimetres squared, I hear you all say. Centimetres squared. Okay. Space, area is a two-dimensional thing. So it's always got that little 2. So centimetres squared, metres squared, millimetres squared, whatever. Now, what does perimeter mean, guys? Yeah, but the outside what? Is it an area? No. It's a what, beginning with L? Good. Well done, Theo. It is a length. So the perimeter is the length around the outside of the shape. The length around outside of shape. So just imagine yourself running around the shape. All right, imagine yourself starting off in the top corner. I think you all know what a wonderful artist I am. There is a superb drawing of a person. Okay, and just imagine them running around the shape. So they'd go along 5, then they go down 12. Gosh, that's not very good to scale, is it? Sorry. I should have put that 12 and the 5 the other way around, shouldn't I? So sorry. That's that 5 is longer than the 12, isn't it? That's very much not to scale. So it'd be 5, add 12, add 5, add 12, which is 34. Length is one-dimensional, so that would be centimetres. We stop talking? So that would be centimetres. Okay, so just imagine yourself running around the shape. Okay, so we're doing simple shapes today, so it's all going to be squares and rectangles or triangles. So just a quick reminder about triangles. Here is a triangle, just before Charlie says it. Okay, so we're just focusing on the areas here. Obviously, perimeter, you still just run around the shape. Well, yeah, you can if you want, yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what, yeah, we haven't got the windows open here, have we? I've noticed that. Can you open your window a bit at the back, guys? Is that open? Oh, God, this is... Yeah, why isn't it been opened by... I'll tell you what, we've got the door open. I'll do that when we get going. I'll do that in a minute. Don't know why that wasn't open for periods 1 and 2. Yeah. Yeah, if you want, if you find it that difficult to see. Right, so area of the triangle. That triangle is taking up half the space. Imagine it was a rectangle. You're cutting it in half to work out the area. So to work out an area of a triangle, it's base times height, then you halve it, or you divide by 2. Or, if you like, half times base times height. Oh, suddenly the internet's working both. Yeah, of course you are. Half times base times height. That's how you work out the area of a triangle. Just a picture that. If your room was a rectangle, and then mum or dad came along and cut it in half because you had to share your room with your younger brother or sister, you'd be annoyed. You'd have half the space for your room. Okay, so with this particular question, it would be half times 8 times 5. Sorry, it's a times sign. Half times 8 times 5. Okay, what's 5 eighths? 40, halve it. And units, given it's two-dimensional? Good. Now, one you may not have come across before Just try and draw the one on the right, please, and notice how it's not a right angle triangle. And can you, once you've drawn it, just go and dot a rectangle around it? Just dot a rectangle around it, please. All right. Now, this bit in red that I'm just doing, you don't need to draw this bit in red. This is just to help for my explanation. So please don't draw that bit in red. Okay. You are drawing that triangle with a base of 5, a diagonal height on the right of 12, and please note on the left, that 10 is the height straight up. It is not the other diagonal height. Yes, I'm waiting, Joe. Yeah, go on, far away.
On that second one,
Yeah.
are we usually drawing the whole thing?
Yeah, you join the triangle.
Wait, just the triangle.
You start off by doing the base. You start with the triangle, please, Joe. But notice how the 12 is the diagonal height on the right. The 5 is obviously the base. But please note how that 10, Joe, is the height straight up. It is not the other diagonal height. And then I want you to do the purple dot around it, Joe, creating the rectangle. Now, if your bedroom was the purple rectangle, what would be the area of your bedroom? Yeah. What would be the area of your bedroom if it was the purple rectangle? Yeah. Why you? Because you should be able to work out the area of a rectangle. Don't know. Yes. 60. How do you get 60? Yes, you reckon the height of that rectangle is 12, do you? Nope. What would be the height of that rectangle? 10, yeah. Can you see the height would be straight up? Can you all see that just hooking out the purple bit only, you would have a height of 10 and a base of 5. So the area would be 50. Okay? Now, along comes mum or dad again, and they go and do a couple of walls to create that triangle. So they've gone and built a wall in there, and they've built that wall in there. Now, can you see that little triangle that I'm shading? Don't do the shading, this is just to see that you can check. Can you see that red shading is the same as that light blue shading? Can you see that's the same area? Can you see that dark green shading is the same as that orange shading? Can you see they're both a couple of triangles which are the same size? It's quite hard to see, but at the end of the day, they come along and draw and build those walls. If your bedroom is the bit that's in red or green, that is still half of the space. That is still half of the space of the original rectangle. So how would I work out, I'm going to take all of that off now, how am I going to work out the area of that triangle, guys? What maths am I going to do? Anybody? How do I work out the area of that triangle? What measurement do I do? What times what times what? Anybody? Picture what it was as a rectangle, and then you've got to have to halve that. Yes, Thomas. Say again? 5 times 10, and then what are you going to do to it? Lovely. So note what Thomas just said. He said he's going to do half times 10 times 5. He's right. Why did Thomas take 10 and not 12? Isla. The height, no, the height of the... Yeah, all right. But it's the height that the rectangle would be beforehand. Okay? It's the height that the rectangle would be. Which height is it of the triangle? Isla's right. It's the height of the triangle, but the 12's the height of the triangle. Does anybody know what that height there, you might call it? That height that's straight up. That's the height we need to use. Anybody know what we might call a height that's straight up? Absolutely fine if you don't. That would be a good one. That would be absolutely fine. But what we actually call it, we say half times base you might not have heard this word before, times perpendicular height. Anyone heard that word before? Perpendicular means sort of at 90 degrees. So what we're saying, that height is 90 degrees to the 5 at the bottom. So what do you think is the classic mistake? You do half times 5 times, well, what would be the classic mistake? Half times 5 times 10. That would be the classic not mistake, but that's correct. Right? To work out the area of that triangle, you do half times 5 times 10. What don't you do? Exactly. Yeah. It's very funny to see you talking about your dog. It's feel weird. Yeah. Right. So that's it, guys. That's the only bit I'm going to do on the teaching. Well, you're halving it because the triangle is taking up half the space of the rectangle. So just like back here, Poppy, if your room had been the rectangle, your room would have a size, an area of 5/8 of 40. But then we've come along and cut it in half. So that's why the half there. If you like, you can think of it as 8 times 5 is 40, and then divide it by 2. Okay, it's the same thing. All right. Over here, if your bedroom had been that rectangle, you would have had an area of 50, but it's the triangle, so you've got to halve the rectangle area. So whenever you do a triangle, you've got to remember to put a half in front to work out the area. It's taking half the space. All right, now I'm just going to stop that recording now because I think it's slowing everything down a bit on my system. I don't think anybody was listening anyway. Right, but that's okay. I didn't think they'd join the meeting. But at least it's recorded, so they've got no excuse for not doing the work. So that's all good. So I'm going to leave.